Welcome to Iraqi Dinar News, where you receive real and authentic updates about the Iraqi Dinar. If you want to stay informed with moment-by-moment developments, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Today we're going to take a closer look at a message that has been circulating among followers of the Iraqi Dinar community. The message itself is short, but it raises an important point that often appears during periods of uncertainty in financial markets. It suggests that despite recent scares or moments of doubt, observers should pay close attention to where major global investors are positioning their money. According to the statement, large investors are not abandoning their positions, and that may indicate that the broader story behind Iraq's financial future is still developing. When analyzing statements like this, it is important to step back and view them through the lens of real economic fundamentals rather than speculation. Financial markets frequently experience moments of uncertainty. These periods can be triggered by political developments, economic policy changes, regional security concerns, or shifts in global investment sentiment. Iraq's economy, like many emerging markets, is especially sensitive to these types of developments because it is still undergoing structural transformation after decades of conflict, sanctions, and economic restructuring. The idea that anything can still happen is actually a realistic statement when discussing the Iraqi dinar. Currency values are influenced by a wide range of factors including monetary policy, foreign exchange reserves, trade balances, inflation levels, and the overall stability of the government and financial institutions. In Iraq's case, the Central Bank of Iraq plays a key role in maintaining exchange rate stability and managing the country's foreign currency reserves, which are largely supported by oil export revenues. Over the past several years, Iraq has made measurable progress in strengthening its financial institutions and stabilizing its currency system. The country's foreign reserves have remained relatively strong due to continued oil exports, and the central bank has implemented policies aimed at narrowing the gap between the official exchange rate and the parallel market rate. These efforts are part of a broader strategy to bring more transparency and efficiency to Iraq's financial system. However, periods of concern or uncertainty still appear from time to time. Sometimes these concerns come from policy debates within Iraq, such as discussions about banking reforms, currency management, or anti-corruption measures. Other times they are connected to regional geopolitical developments that can influence investor sentiment toward the Middle East as a whole. When these situations arise, the dinar community often reacts quickly, and rumors or speculation can spread rapidly across social media platforms. This is where the concept mentioned in the message becomes particularly interesting, watching where major investors place their money. Large institutional investors, international banks, sovereign wealth funds, and multinational corporations typically conduct extensive economic analysis before making investment decisions. Their strategies are usually based on long-term fundamentals rather than short-term rumors. In many cases, these investors look at indicators such as oil production capacity, infrastructure development, political stability, regulatory reforms, and the strength of a country's banking sector. Iraq continues to hold significant potential in several of these areas. The country possesses one of the largest proven oil reserves in the world, and energy exports remain the backbone of its national economy. As global demand for energy continues, Iraq's ability to maintain stable production levels plays an important role in supporting government revenues and foreign currency reserves. Additionally, Iraq has been working to attract more international investment into sectors beyond oil. Infrastructure projects, transportation networks, telecommunications, and electricity generation are areas where foreign investment could play a significant role in future economic growth. For international investors, these sectors represent long-term opportunities if regulatory conditions remain stable and reform efforts continue. When analysts observe that major investors are not jumping ship, what they often mean is that there is no widespread evidence of large-scale capital flight from the country. Capital flight would typically show up through declining foreign investment, falling reserves, or significant instability in the banking system. While Iraq continues to face challenges, The data available from international financial institutions does not currently indicate a sudden withdrawal of major global investors. That does not mean everything is perfect. Iraq's economy still faces structural challenges that economists regularly discuss. One of the most significant is the reliance on oil revenues for government spending. When oil prices rise, government revenues increase, allowing for larger budgets and investment in public services. But when oil prices fall, the fiscal balance can become strained. Diversifying the economy remains a long-term goal for policymakers in Baghdad. Another issue that analysts monitor closely is the stability of the exchange rate system. Iraq maintains an official exchange rate that is managed through the central bank's monetary policies. At times, differences can emerge between the official rate and the rate found in parallel currency markets. When this gap widens, it can signal inefficiencies or imbalances in the financial system. For this reason, Iraqi authorities have implemented several measures aimed at regulating foreign currency auctions, strengthening compliance in the banking sector, and improving transparency in cross-border financial transactions. For followers of the Iraqi Dinar, these types of reforms are often viewed as part of the broader process of financial modernization. A stronger banking system, improved regulatory oversight, and better integration with international financial networks are all factors that can contribute to long-term currency stability. However, these changes typically occur gradually rather than suddenly. In the short term, the key takeaway from the message circulating in the community is the reminder that financial markets are rarely driven by a single headline or rumor. Instead, they are shaped by a complex combination of policy decisions, economic data, and investor confidence. Short-term scares or uncertainty can occur, but the deeper story often lies in the long-term economic trajectory of a country. For Iraq, that trajectory includes ongoing efforts to strengthen institutions, modernize banking infrastructure, and attract foreign investment. It also includes continued cooperation with international organizations that provide technical support and economic guidance. These partnerships often focus on improving fiscal management, combating corruption, and building a more resilient financial system. In the long term, the strength of the Iraqi dinar will depend on several fundamental factors. These include sustained economic growth, effective management of oil revenues, diversification into non-oil sectors, and the continued development of stable financial institutions. Currency stability is typically the result of consistent policy implementation over many years rather than a single event or announcement. This is why analysts frequently encourage observers to look beyond daily speculation and instead focus on the broader economic indicators. These indicators include inflation rates, foreign exchange reserves, government fiscal policies, and the health of the banking sector. Together, they provide a more accurate picture of where the Iraqi economy may be heading over time. Another important aspect to consider is investor psychology. Markets often react strongly to uncertainty, even when the underlying fundamentals remain relatively stable. During such periods, rumors can spread quickly and create confusion among observers who may not have access to detailed economic data. This is why credible financial analysis always emphasizes verified information and cautious interpretation of developments. The statement advising viewers to keep watching the real story can therefore be interpreted as a reminder to focus on verified economic trends rather than momentary speculation. The real story of Iraq's economic development is unfolding through policy reforms, infrastructure projects, international partnerships, and gradual improvements in financial governance. For those who follow Iraqi Dinar news closely, maintaining a balanced perspective is essential. The country's economic future holds both opportunities and challenges. Progress is being made in several areas, but structural reforms take time, and the global economic environment can influence outcomes in ways that are difficult to predict. Short-term developments may include adjustments in monetary policy, changes in banking regulations, or shifts in global energy markets that affect Iraq's revenues. Long-term developments may involve deeper economic diversification, modernization of financial systems, and expanded international trade relationships. In practical terms, the message circulating within the community highlights an important analytical principle. Observing the behavior of major investors can provide insight into how global financial institutions perceive a country's economic outlook. If those investors continue to participate in Iraq's economic development, it suggests that they see long-term potential despite short-term uncertainties. At the same time, it is important for viewers and followers of Iraqi Dinar news to approach all information carefully and critically. Not every rumor or claim circulating online reflects the full reality of economic conditions. Responsible analysis requires examining official statements, economic reports, and credible data sources before drawing conclusions. As Iraq continues its economic journey, the global financial community will keep monitoring developments in areas such as energy production, fiscal reform, banking modernization, and regional stability. Each of these factors plays a role in shaping the country's financial future and the stability of its currency. For now, the key takeaway from today's discussion is that while uncertainty can arise at any time in financial markets, long-term investment trends and economic fundamentals remain the most reliable indicators of where a country's economy may be heading. If you want to stay updated with responsible, factual, and balanced coverage of Iraqi Dinar developments, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. And as always, remember that the information shared in this video is for informational and educational purposes only and should not be considered financial or investment advice.